Okay, so on Monday we got ourselves another little beta and main branch hotfix, and I want to go through that here today. I was waiting for another hotfix or beta branch patch today to kind of lump them together, but this in my mind is a very important patch and it's worth talking about, and I'll try to exemplify it the best way I can in the actual game itself because it affects the combat AI in a really important and strong way. Let's jump into these notes here real quick. So right now, if you play the game and you use the shield wall formations or the square formations, you notice that your AI doesn't really do the best in those situations. They kind of get caught up and they don't block very well. They get killed pretty quickly. The shield wall, to be totally honest with you, prior to this patch was not the best formation despite what you would think when you're making your formations with your infantry. Yeah, I think it did hold the line and it was a good defensive formation, but we'll talk a little bit more about this when we jump into the game and how wrapping works in the context of combat damage to a unit in Mountain Blade. So taking a look here, we have AI is more likely to block when equipped with a shield, and common troops now generally have higher weapon skills. These are good things. These are strong improvements to the game because if you noticed with the beta 1.1 and after, anytime you see AI attacking, sometimes they'll just stare at each other and look. This kind of fixes that. The shields will always kind of be up. They'll more likely than not actually block when they're getting attacked with a melee weapon or receiving ranged damage. This was a big thing, is that you'd put things in shield walls and sometimes they would drop their shields randomly for just no reason. Now, it does say common troops now generally have higher weapon skills. Now, I've taken a look at some of this as a juxtaposition of the actual skills of these units in the game. I think it's some sort of behind the scenes increase to the weapon skills because this doesn't fix a lot of the wonky weapon skills we see a lot of the other units to have. For example, Imperial crossbowmen and Imperial archers like Palatine Guard both have the same crossbow skill. So this doesn't fix these little wonky random skill bumps across the board, but I think it's overall increased some of the tier-to-tier skills for some units. Now, I do also think that it's helped out in their damage and they actually do a little bit more damage when it comes to using their weapons. But I've not been able to see a direct change on some of the more, I guess, corrupt skills across the board. Fixed a crash that occurred when the player was a faction ruler and ended a contract with a mercenary or minor faction and refused to settle their debt. A lot of people have made some comments in some of my Kingdom videos that this was happening to them, so hopefully that's resolved. Now, another big change here is pregnancy chance has been lowered. And if you have a wife in the game, you probably realize that you're pumping out children at an astounding rate. Like, honestly, it's like a breeding factory. It's disgusting. It's like she's studded out and just pumping these things out like rapid fire. So no longer will your wife be a breeding ground and she'll take an appropriate amount of time. From what I've seen on both Reddit and my own personal testing, it went from like 4 or 5 kids a year to a little bit lower. I think it's more like 1 or 2, sometimes 3 a year. It seems to be that's the general consensus. But an AI bug that reduced performance is fixed, and this mainly had to do when you were dying and you press fast forward, the AI would get a little chomped up, or if you had a situation wherein you'd be playing the game and the AI would have to, they unfortunately congregate in a siege battle, that would kind of cause some performance issues. So while they still do the congregation portion in a small little pocket in sieges, this seems to have had a little bit of a reduction on the hit on your performance. Another really big one that goes in conjunction with the first point is agents no longer block ally attacks in the shield wall formation. Now, you might think that this is for the side swipes. It's mainly for the overhead swipes from what I've been able to observe. Rather than them stopping their swing when they start it because of some blocking from someone to the left or the right or behind them, they'll actually complete their swing, and if someone is in the way, it'll only get blocked at the very end of the swing. So there's more of a margin for error and a chance for the blow to actually connect, and it doesn't just get blocked the second it starts. So this is huge. It makes shield walls way stronger. So that's why the kind of theme for this patch in my mind is making shield walls a lot better. For the beta branch though, all changes mentioned above as always, and fixed a bug that caused extra guards to spawn when entering a Lord's Hall more than once. So let's jump into the game real quick. We'll jump into a custom battle because I think the biggest thing to exemplify is this point and how it really affects your shield wall play and really getting the best use out of that formation. All right, so we're doing a 100 on 100 battle in this little custom battle. So let's take our man, pop them into shield wall.
Make a shield wall!
Damn right you will. Now get up there. Now we are set ourselves as the defender, so she should come and attack us. And if we'll just kind of move forward. So the shield wall, the biggest thing about it is your men get closer, they get tighter, and they defend, right? You can see their shields are up right now. It's a good way to kind of deal with oncoming hordes of cav archers, all sorts of things. Now you can see that the horde is coming their way. We'll get them right here. Now this is going to help exemplify also wrapping. Not wrapping presents. Those are fun. Now watch how this happens. My guys are just kind of taking the blows. But really the best way to get the most benefit out of shield wall is then charging once contact's made. Now you see they'll all start attacking, they'll start swinging their swords. They're actually carrying their swords over their head and doing damage. But you see the wrapping portion, you see that they're starting to come around to the back of my shield wall and doing damage. So while this patch does help the overall effectiveness of shield wall because they're defending more and they're doing damage, they're also getting wrapped up. And as you can see over time, my units will start to take more damage as the wrap up starts to completely surround them. And some of mine are starting to flee right now. You can see how this is going. You can take a look here. It's what, 40 to 40 more or less. And I kind of expected this to happen. To really get the most benefit out of both shield wall and another formation we're about to go into, square, you need to make sure you charge. The biggest thing with this patch is their overhead swipes are connecting more with the enemy. This is a 100 on 100 battle, and it was pretty much down to the wire here. I didn't go and kill their lord, but we did end up winning the fight. Now, the biggest thing here is they did start to wrap around us. They weren't in a wide formation, and the shield wall continued to work as it's supposed to work. They keep their shields up, and they attack as you press that charge button. If you don't press charge, they will just kind of take the attacks and respond in kind. You notice when I pressed charge, the back line started to attack, and they were able to complete their blows because of the most recent patch alongside other agents. Agents in this game are anything that is an attacking entity, I guess you could say. So let's reload this real quick. And I'll show you guys another one. Oh, good. It's light out for a change. Let's get over here, get our guys up close and personal. And the other formation here is square. Now, I'm not going to tell you guys that square's way better than shield wall. I think it's all dependent upon the situation. But in my mind, the way that square works, it helps out to prevent max damage from the dreaded wraparound. So let's get them all in range right there. Unfortunately, it's on an uneven terrain, so this is not going to be the most beneficial. And they might actually just they might come for me. No! So here, we're going to take the... Oh, and I'm going to run into these guys. They'll wrap around this whole entire cordon of my men, and their shields will be up. They won't just get hit in the back. And now we're going to charge and see how they'll match the wrap. They're not just going to take it all in the face. They'll respond in kind. It'll kind of still become a bit of amalgamation of a shield wall, and you can even keep the square for longer. I'm just trying to quickly exemplify this point. But the square, in my mind, is a better defensive formation because it prevents the wrap from completely surrounding your men and getting damage on all sides. In fact, I think I kind of messed this experiment up by having them charge too early. But making sure you charge your men when they're in a shield wall or a square formation is going to give you the best advantage for using this patch. This patch was all about fixing the AI here. I mean, look how much more of an advantage we now have. Defender's Army is 56. I mean, we have handedly crushed them because of how much more effective Square is at using your army's defensive capabilities. So this patch, I think, was very huge. It was very important to show off how these defensive abilities are now way more valuable to you as the player. So if you're playing as Sturgia, if you're playing as oh man, let me just ride these guys down. So if you're playing as Sturgia, you're playing as the Empire, you can really see how using Square now or using Shield Wall is going to be far more effective for you. You're not going to just kind of sit there and take the blows in the face and respond a little bit in kind. You're going to be able to actually connect your blows and not worry about them getting hung up on the people to the left and right of you. This is really going to be huge in sieges when you're mounting the walls and you yourself are trying to get damage in, and the only thing you can do is overhead attacks because everything to your left and right is clogged up. This will hopefully reduce some of that clutter, and you'll be able to get some good damage across the board. So I really wanted to get this video out to you guys to show you how important this most recent patch is. So if you are not on the most recent live branch, please jump ahead. I still think, though, you might want to hold off on jumping into the beta branch. I've personally noticed from my continued testing of it that there are a lot of graphical bugs and issues and too many crashing to desktops that kind of plague me from really testing 1.2. But I'll continue to cover these bigger, more prominent patches that come out, especially if it does something massive to overhauling the combat AI like this does. Like I said, I think that this is a really strong improvement to two really big formations I think a lot of us use, that inherently we think that these formations are going to be the best for the situations that we're in. But guys, please leave a comment below if you've noticed some other things from your testing of the patches, patch notes, and the beta branch, so on and so forth. I really appreciate when we kind of get this melting pot of information. But as always, guys, thank you so much for watching here today. Don't forget to like, subscribe, all that fun action, and we will dive into more of these patch notes and other guides as the days go on. As always, have a good one, and take care.